Hi, this is George, and today I would like to talk about a very interesting design pattern called observer. So it belongs to a family of patterns known as behavioral, and these are the ones that are concerned about the way objects behave, or let's say interact with each other. The original observer design pattern defines a one-to-many dependency between objects, so that when an object changes its state, all its dependents are notified and updated automatically. So this pattern has two parts. It's very simple. It has subject, which is the source of information. It allows to register and unregister observers and also notify observers. And then you have the observer, the observers, which are the many side, and are all of those interested in the information, and they just observe and they act, let's say, or consume the information that arrives from the subject. This is a very widely used in the industry whenever point to multi-point communication is needed. It's very easy and common to encounter it in our daily lives. For example, this blog post itself is an example. At the moment I click on publish, all those who are subscribed will receive a notification. They are the observers of the subject, which is this video. Also, there are other examples, many others. Did you know that the MVC frameworks use the observer pattern? The subject is the model M, and the observers are the views V. And there are many other examples. For example, Java Messaging Service, or JMS, uses topics, and we can say that the observers, as the subscribers, will receive notifications from the subjects, which are the topics, and the list goes on. Even real-time systems, for example, for a stock exchange or maybe gambling odds feeds, also use this design pattern, or maybe a variation of it. Maybe newsletter, online auction, social media like Twitter, for example. These are all very interesting examples that use this pattern or a very similar variation of it. So let's now look into the code in Java and how to implement this design pattern. I'm going to start by creating an interface, which I'm going to call subject. So subject. We say the subject is what the observers are interested in, the information from the subject, right? It's a state. So we said that the subject will be able to register and notify observers. So let's do that. So register observer. I'm going to unregister observer and say notify observers. Notice that the IDE is suggesting me to import Java util observer. There is a class called observer, and there is also an interface called observable. I'm not going to go into that, but Java already has some libraries that will allow you to easier implement this pattern. But for this demonstration, I'm going to do it myself manually. So I'm going to create now an interface which is going to be the observer. So basically the observers, all they do is they do something when they receive a notification. That notification can come in any shape or form that we want. For this example, I'm going to do just two parameters, string source and string message. So this is going to be what the notification is going to be about. The notification is going to have a source and it's going to have a message. This compiles fine. Let's create now an implementation for the subject. So since this is a very generic example, I'm going to call this message producer. So this is the guy who creates the information. This is the subject. And as a subject, it needs to implement these methods. So if we want to register an observer into the subject, we will need a place to store it. I'm going to create just an array list for now. And here are our observers. I'm going to initialize it in the constructor. And I'm going to use the list to register. So add observer, and let's unregister the observer. So if we wanted, we could call the unregister to unregister. So I'm gonna use the remove method from list, and the list I think have observers remove, and maybe I can do like this. Yeah, so I think this will remove that specific observer from the list. And to notify, all I need to do is to iterate the list, and from each observer call the update method. So we said, so we have two parameters in update. So one is source and the other is message. So this is the state of the subject that the observers are interested in. So saying that, let's create a field for the source and a field for the message. And this will be the message for the implementation for notifying the observers. Now we need to trigger this notification somehow. We can imagine that this will be triggered from outside somehow by calling this method. For this simple example, I'm going to just create here a method which I'm going to call it broadcast message, and I'm going to pass again a message and a source. I'm going to bin them, and I'm going to call notify. So whoever calls this method, the client passes a message and a source. This will be enough to notify the observers. We could put this one in the interface instead of that one, but let's leave it like this for now. I'm going to create now an implementation for observer. So I'm going to call it message observer. Since I call the other message producer, let's call this one message observer. The message observer is going to be an observer, so implements observer, and in order to observe on a subject, we need a subject. So let's create a subject, and we are going to initialize it in the constructor. And we are going to register ourselves. So the message observer registers itself into the subject. using like this. And finally, the update method is just whatever, so it's the change of a state of the subject that is being notified to us. So we can do with it whatever we want. We can put it in a database, we can pass it forward to another system, whatever we want. Just for simplicity, I'm going to print a message. I'm gonna say from this source I received this message. And that's it. This is how the implementation of the observer is done in Java. I'm going to just demo it by creating a client, which in this case is going to be a main method. And I can create a subject. Subject equal new message producer, and then I'm gonna create observers. Observer equal new message observer, and this observer is gonna register to the subject. I'm gonna call it observer A and observer B. This would be, I don't know, as many observers I want to register to the subject. We could register to multiple subjects. If depends on the variation of the pattern you want to implement. I'm just keeping it simple. If we see, we have the notify observers. So this was the thing I said earlier. We could depends on what you want to put in the interface. I wanted, because the original pattern uses this format, I wanted to do that, but let's use directly the producer. The producer is the subject, and I'm gonna broadcast the message. So this is our way into the subject. So let's put blogspot.uk. So let's run this, and I expect two observers to notify two different messages that are notified. Here they are. And so this is how you implement the observer design pattern in Java. Thank you very much.